Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela. Today, we are talking about leadership and aura color. We all have the ability to be amazing leaders, but knowing your authentic aura colors and how they play into that can help you be more successful on those leadership endeavors. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, so I assume this episode is going to be all about the Reds today, right?
Right. Well, you know what it is? In our society, I'm going to talk about this. In our society, we tend to focus on the more traditional type leaders. But in all these readings I do, one of the main career issues is that somebody's an empath aura put in a leadership position and they feel like they're failing and they feel like they're doing it wrong and they feel really unsuccessful or they have imposter syndrome. And it's because they're looking at it through the lens of what society thinks a leader is. So we're going to revisit that.
All right. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
We have to do a little aura check on myself.
Oh, okay.
Periodically, we do these aura checks. And I'm going to be honest here. I have not been feeling like a leader lately. You know, I don't know. Is something off here?
It's interesting you brought this up. And since we're in a safe place,
yes.
I feel like, because you've been a little touchy lately. And I think it's because since September came, it's your birthday month.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And I told you a couple days ago, there was like this cloud of victim blue like that just settled upon you and has enshrouded you. And it was weird because today I feel like you were trying to make up for it or something because you were coming in hot with like weird red like solar storms of energy coming at me. Yeah, you were like, let me give you the to-do list. Let me give you the to-do list for today. And I'm like, okay, my purple's like, okay, buddy.
All right. Well, so what do you like, how do you see my aura right now?
Right now it's kind of like a victim blue with like red lightning bolts.
So I'm more blue right now than I should be.
Yeah.
Do I have any green in my aura?
No.
Okay.
It's just September brew.
Yeah. September around this time, usually it's a little later in September because my birthday is towards the end of the month. But yeah, I think the blue comes in and the red starts to leave because I really, like I said, I haven't really been feeling like a leader lately.
Hate your
I feel
birthday.
kind of. Yeah, maybe
you're very confronted with your own mortality in September. I'm just going to throw some more NASA photos at you.
If a NASA photo comes out in the month of September, I don't know what's going to happen. It might be over. Yeah, it might be
existential
over.
crisis city.
Huge crisis. All right. Well, let's take you for a second.
Okay.
So you're purple indigo.
Yes.
Not colors that you would assume a leader to be usually.
Right. Society doesn't uphold those as.
But right, exactly.
Examples.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, recently I've seen some leadership within you. Well, not recently, but over the last few years in your readings.
Yeah.
I feel like, sometimes when I'm with you and I hear them or, passing by the hallway and I hear you doing a reading on the phone, you're powerful. You really take command.
Thank you.
You're welcome. of that reading. Even more so than you used to.
Yeah.
So what's going on there?
It took me a long time because I guess I've always been a little shy. And I get all these messages from spirit. So how do you tell somebody something they might not necessarily want to hear? Or how do you deliver news that isn't always a delicate thing to deliver? And it was hard at the beginning when I started doing readings. I think a lot of psychics have this issue. They have a hard time. All right, I'm going to sit down with a stranger and I'm just going to take over the conversation and tell you about you and your husband and your kids and your wife or whatever. When I was first starting off, I felt like taking over the conversation and I guess directing the reading in the way I felt it should go, not the way they might have wanted it to go, was egotistical. Okay, well they're the ones getting a reading, so I should talk about what they want to talk about. But I realized that, and this was through my indigo, I don't work for me. I don't work for my ego. I have to be uncomfortable in order to do my job the correct way. And that is I work for spirit. So as an indigo, my leadership is I kind of give my leadership abilities to spirit. So I'm like, listen, spirit, you're talking to spirit, not me. And spirit wants to go here. And that's really how it works. In a reading, when somebody sends me pictures, it's let spirit lead it. Because I don't always know where I'm going. So my indigo style in a reading is to let spirit be the leader. And inform who I'm reading, listen, let's just see where spirit wants to go. And then let's just follow it. So I outsource it to spirit. That's my leadership.
Well, no, yeah. but you have taken no.
Well, I speak for it now.
Yeah, and
I use my voice to say that.
Yes, you use your voice, and don't give all your power away. Spirit is half the thing, and you're the other half.
Well, I do a lot of work. I do a lot of work on myself all the time.
No, but I mean, I've definitely seen the growth in you over these past years, where you really do command that reading, from beginning to end now, and it is incredible. It is, and it. Yeah, you would even think like it would be a red job. Being like a psychic medium would be a red job because being a red, you might be more assertive and go up to someone and just tell them everything about themselves.
Yeah.
Like an indigo, I can't, it's hard for an indigo to do that.
Yeah, some of the more famous psychics that kind of like make it out there or do, I guess, the flashier type kind of fun things. They lead with a different foot than I do. And I've accepted that about myself. This is who I am. This is how I operate. And, but it's just, so my leadership ability was I work for Spirit and I have to be a leader by speaking to that and saying how it's best done.
Okay. Well, and one big key of leadership is knowing who you are. And we're going to find out about that next with one of the people we're going to talk about. But all right, when we come back, we're going to talk about some leaders who you don't often associate as being leaders.
The struggles we face with our mental health can loom large over our lives. Maybe yours, maybe someone you love. Perhaps you've tried everything, or have you? Mind Bloom is the solution for the next chapter in mental health and well-being. Mind Bloom is the leader in at-home ketamine therapy, offering a combination of science-backed medicine with clinician and guide support for people looking to improve their mental health and well-being. Mind Bloom connects patients to licensed psychiatric clinicians to help them achieve better outcomes with lower costs, greater convenience, and an artfully crafted experience. To begin, take Mind Bloom's online assessment to determine if Mind Bloom is right for you. If approved, you'll schedule a video consult with a licensed clinician where you'll discuss your goals and expectations for mental health treatment. Mind Bloom will send you a kit in the mail complete with medicine, treatment materials, and tips for getting the most out of your experience. After only 2 sessions, 87% of Mind Bloom clients reported improvements in depression and 85% reported improvements in anxiety. It's time to enter the next chapter in mental health and well-being. You can let Mind Bloom help you. Right now, Mind Bloom is offering our listeners $100 off your first 6-session program when you sign up at mindbloom.com/KYA and use promo code KYA at checkout. Go to mindbloom.com/KYA, promo code KYA for $100 off your first 6-session program today. That's mindbloom.com/KYA, promo code KYA. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. I'm really feeling that.
Thinking about your birthday.
Yeah, it's interesting that the one episode that we're doing here about leadership, when I should be my most red, I'm feeling really blue. But
I think that's good. I like it.
Yeah. Well, it is my birthday month. And by the way, I know a lot of listeners are going to be getting me presents. Anything Mothman will do.
I feel like you're what did we call it last week? A grifter?
A grifter? You called me. And I didn't even know what that was.
I don't know. That's you.
So I'm a grifter. All right. Well, I wanted to start off first with, doing these leaders who we don't think are leaders with someone who is the typical red blue. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this person wears red and blue on game days. And this is a huge nod to our Buffalo listenership. It's Josh Allen. He's the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. The only people that probably know that right now are people from Buffalo, or if you're really a super duper NFL fan, right? Do you know who he is even?
Yeah, of course.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even.
No, because I'm from Buffalo, but I live in Florida, if you're just catching up here. And I follow everybody on Facebook, obviously, from back home. Right. And seriously, somebody that I follow wrote a love poem to him. This is like a 50-something-year-old man, sat down with a pen and paper in all seriousness and wrote this poem about the humility and hardworking nature of Josh Allen. Okay. Yeah. It's just he's loved. And you got to understand, for Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills, it's life, it's culture. It's your character qualities. You look to them. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yes. This guy has the weight of the entire city on his shoulders for this upcoming season.
Yeah.
Could you just Just confirm his colors. I'm assuming he's red and blue.
He's red and blue.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's kind of throwing me off though because in this picture he's got a little yellow in him. But I can see that with elite athletes.
That makes sense because he has, maybe like with the playbook and
I see like
all that stuff.
Yeah,
he's got to memorize all that.
In very elite athletes, sometimes I'll see yellow pop in there, especially Olympic athletes. But it's interesting. He's a serious guy. He's serious about his sport. Mm-hmm.
But he's definitely a red, blue.
Yes,
those are his authentic colors.
Yeah, that's what.
And
he
maybe
like.
wears a little yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I did a little research on him, and I wanted to see, is he a leader? I know he's a leader on the field. Is he a leader off the field as well? Do his teammates see him as a leader? Things like that. And the first thing that actually came up was this interview in the Buffalo News that he was the first guy at the, in the Jefferson Avenue, from the Bills, by the way, not the first person, but when the Jefferson Avenue tops, when they had the shooting.
The mass shooting the tops in Buffalo.
I think it was on May 14th. Mm-hmm. A horrible event, and he was there, and he took, I guess, the leadership role for the team.
So he showed up.
He showed up,
site.
right? And and for Buffalo, again, they put everything.
That's a big deal. Buffalo's a small town.
Yes.
People really come together. People care a lot. Yeah,
they do. And he was there, and he was the leader there.
Wow.
So
that's decent. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the rest of the interview, in the article, it goes on to saying how he got his leadership qualities. Mm-hmm. And a lot of it came from his upbringing, his parents, and I think he grew up on a farm.
I think he was in California.
I think he was a California guy. He grew up on a farm, a lot of work ethic, hard work. And Josh Allen in the article said his number one quality of leadership is knowing who you are. And you actually said that in the first segment.
Yeah.
And it made me think of the interview again. And I agree with that too. I think if you are you, if you're authentically you, and you know who you are, your good trait, your good characteristics and your bad characteristics, your flaws, and your what's the word I'm looking for? And your
I don't know. Your strengths and weaknesses.
Your strengths and weaknesses. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what this whole aura color thing's about.
Yeah.
Like, know who you are. Know what you're good at. Know what you're not good at. Embrace that. Stop trying to cover up your insecurities and, embrace them and speak to them. When I look at him, he's such a balanced color combination. I think a lot of red guys sometimes get stereotyped. Like, anybody knows what a red guy is. I'm not sure a listener, but I think a lot of alpha males are usually red auras. And, but he's not like that. Like, a real alpha is somebody who leads quietly and leads without their ego involved. And he doesn't feel like he's some sort of scary person to talk to. Like, to me, he looks very approachable. And I think that's great for a red aura leader, that you could go up to them and say, hey, I disagree with this, or hey, I didn't like this, or hey, can you tell me how you came to that decision, without somebody getting defensive or biting your head off. And I feel like he's like that. He's very good at having a conversation.
No, and that is actually correct. In the article, it said that his teammate said that he's very approachable. He's not scary to come up to.
Yeah.
Now, some people might, now again, he's young. I think he's only about 25, 26, 27 in that range. But this guy just got awarded, I don't know how many millions of dollars. He might almost make $100 million a season or close to it.
Sure.
I'm not sure, And here's a guy making millions and millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And, some other professional athletes in that same position, they take an approach of, well, I'm here and I'm way up here.
Yeah, they get
and you're
a big
way
head.
down there. They get big ego, big head.
Yeah.
They're not going to assault. Maybe I'm the quarterback. You're only like I don't know. I can't watch that much football anymore. You're only the punter. And they think they're.
You just had major problems with their puncher.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
You just got.
They did have problems with that.
Yeah. Stirring the pot.
Yeah, I'm just stirring the pot here. So, but they say of him that it doesn't matter. If you're making the league minimum or you're a star, he's still treating you the same way.
So he's got humility.
He's got humility, and I like that he treats everyone the same.
Right.
And again, I see a lot of.
You
I
sound
like
you're going to write a poem like that 50-year-old guy I follow is going to do.
No, stop. Come on.
It's okay.
Really?
You can.
Well,
Josh Allen.
What?
Roses are red, and your aura is too. Why am I so blue? There you go.
Okay. You want to keep going? Or?
No, I'm done.
All right. Well, look, we lived. You're from Buffalo. I lived in Buffalo a very long time. And it's interesting. The Bills are interesting because it is a small market, and we used to live in Orchard Park. Orchard Park is where they play.
Yeah,
and
live. A lot of them live there.
And anytime I would go to like Wegmans, which is a supermarket, or Tops, which is a supermarket, it was not uncommon to see the starting players on the team doing shopping.
Yes.
I meant many times I was just doing my shopping, and there was the starting quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, getting something out of the freezer at Wegmans.
Yeah, it's always is amazing with you because you're kind of oblivious about a lot of things, but you can always spot like a professional sports star or like a celebrity. It's weird.
All right, here comes. I think the voice is coming.
We met the coach.
Yeah, we met the coach, Sean McDermott.
Yes.
The head coach now, yeah.
We were in Spot Coffee in Orchard Park, this little tiny Spot Coffee in Orchard Park, sitting at a little tiny table, having our little tiny coffees. Yep. And you were facing the door and I was facing you. And all of a sudden, like, we're just talking like normal. And you just, like, pop out of your seat like a 10-year-old boy. Like, coach! And I look and I'm like, it's just a guy in a shirt and a T-shirt. And you just, like, normal looking dude, you wouldn't think anything. He was anybody or whatever. And you're like, coach. And you just knew exactly who he was. Can I get a picture? Megan, take a picture. I have the picture. I have it.
You have the picture?
Yeah.
Well, he was a very nice guy. And he came over and he actually talked to us for a while.
About how great Buffalo is.
Yeah, about how great Buffalo was and his family and everything. Right. So it is.
You miss it, except for the snow.
Yeah, so the players do. I mean, I don't know if it's still like that today.
I'm sure it is.
But yeah, so I guess anyway, so a little nostalgic there. But all right, so Josh Allen, he's red and blue.
Okay.
He's your quintessential leader.
Little yellow in there.
A little yellow in there. And hopefully, they're expected to win the Super Bowl this year. So
of course.
If they don't, Josh Allen, because this is like everyone's up there thinking this is their year. All right.
Yeah.
Now let's take someone who's not red blue, who's a different color that you might not really think of as a leader. And the first person I chose was Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
She's nowhere near red blue, right?
You'd never collect a bunch of CEOs, notable CEOs, and stick Dolly Parton in there, but she is one.
Right. And she's, runs multi-million-dollar organizations. She does huge, massive charity projects like the library projects for the kids, Dolly World. I think there's like many offshoots of the Dollywood parks that she runs. She has a beauty care line. There's tons of stuff. But you wouldn't think of her like that.
No, she's pink.
Okay.
She's pink and purple. She really you know what? It's interesting because just like pink people in general, or the pink aura, people always underestimate pinks. People kind of ignore them or look away from them or try to take advantage of them. And I feel like with her, it's actually caused her as a leader to go even more into her, I call it like the pink joy bubble, like the joy bubble. Because when you're constantly underestimated, which you are as a pink on top of everything else, I feel like she became a leader by going further and further within herself to do what she wanted to do. And she's really a leader of her own brand. Like, this is what I like. Like, Dollywood's about her. The books is because she didn't have a lot as a kid. Like, a lot of them are from the things that brought her joy as a child. If you hear her talking about the things and the experiences and the companies, it's all sprouted from something that gave her just a pure intrinsic joy. And she just wanted to build that up for other people to experience. But I can see and it's interesting because she talked about people always trying to take advantage of her. And that's such a pink aura thing. She even spoke out what happened to Britney almost happened to her. So anyways, my point being, as a leader, I feel like she understands how people view her and what the perception of her is, and she just made money off of that. And she's very self-aware of it to the point where it's not going to victimize her, it's going to help her. I mean, but that's like a lot of come to Jesus moments I'm sure she's had over the years to do that.
Okay. And I did try to find articles where they talked about themselves as leaders, like I found for Josh. And I did actually find one for her too. And it was kind of funny because it really, you'd expect someone who was, able to run these corporations and be such a leader, they'd have a lot of wisdom.
Right.
But, it wasn't so wisdom-y, let's say. Like one of the things she said was, be on time.
Right.
Like, a good leader's on time.
That's funny.
Yeah, like be on time, because if you're not on time, you don't respect the other person.
Yes, you can be just be on time.
Just be on
and
time.
You can run your own theme park.
Yeah, so
that's
she
fun.
said,
That's all you got to do.
She said, like, have boundaries with her employees. So, like, like, just make sure you don't get too close to the employees at times or whatever.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, it makes sense. For her as a leader, it would be hard for her to tell anybody how to lead as she leads because no one's like her. I mean, it's very rare to be Pink. It's even rarer, I think, to be a Pink CEO of things. Like, anything that probably does work for her doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It probably makes no sense to other people because it works for her.
Right.
And we all have to find that thing that makes sense for us because it'll work for you and it won't work for other people.
Yeah. And the one thing she did say was, don't mistake her kindness for softness.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
I believe that too.
I think she learned that the hard way along the line.
All right. So Pink and
Purple.
All right. Jennifer Gardner is the next one. She is super indigo. I mean, I don't think there's anyone more indigo than Jennifer Gardner,
so indigo,
right?
I love her.
If you look at her Instagram, it's just like puppies and
I know. She's
babies
cooking and
just like
making family moments. And
right.
She's so down to earth.
I wonder. I truly want. I'll be honest here. Yeah. I think she needs to know her colors.
I know.
I think Jennifer Gardner needs to know her colors.
I did this whole post about her.
Yeah.
And I really tried to give it to her.
Yeah, I know.
She's probably not on social media super a lot.
Right. She's probably
unless
like an
she's
assistant
doing
her something.
Yeah, unless she's doing her business stuff.
Yeah. It's weird because like sometimes like this is really weird and I'm getting off topic here a little bit, but sometimes like I really feel
I know
like I need to tell someone their colors.
Yeah, it's Jennifer.
Yeah, and she's that person. Like I don't like Josh Allen doesn't need to know his colors. He's fine.
Right.
I mean, Dolly Parton's probably fine. She doesn't need to know her colors. She's fine. She doesn't need to know her colors. But I feel like Jennifer Gardner needs to know her colors.
I think she's fine too.
No, but I think her knowing that she was indigo would explain so much to her, and like if she understood it. I don't know why I feel that way, but okay. Anyway,
but she's a nice person. You're the indigo whisperer.
That's maybe because
so
maybe
you
I
have
just get
indigo
that.
affection for her.
Yeah, or maybe there's some red blue person in spirit that's trying to knock on her door. I have no idea, but all right. She does have Once Upon a Farm. That is her business. And she's basically in charge of the vision of the farm. She's in charge of overall branding of the farm. And the number one thing that they say that her role in this company is, and she's the co-founder, is to make sure that this company gives back to the community.
Oh, wow.
She also is with Save the Children, which is a nonprofit for helping kids grow up healthy. And again, it's to make sure that these organizations are doing what they're supposed to do.
To keep them on, their original, keep them
to the mission statement. Yes.
Yeah, their intentions.
Exactly.
Well, I relate to her a lot in this way just because as a leader, she does the same thing to her company with its mission statement and what it's supposed to do the same way I do to Spirit, which is just like, as a leader, you're trying to push the thing that you're working for. So she probably feels that her job as a leader is to push the agenda of her intention and push the agenda of the like the good intentions her company has and the mission and all the good it can do. So it's kind of like stepping out to let the ideals shine through and being a leader by way of understanding you're doing good for other people. And she doesn't really need to be the star of it. She's more of like the facilitator of it. So I understand that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I understand that with her. She's just very down to earth. You can tell she's happy. Like she finds her moments in life.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I have one more here.
Okay.
All right. Now this guy goes by a lot of names. I don't know if you know his like birth name.
Okay.
Okay. It is Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah.
Do you know Snoop Dogg's birthday?
No, his birth name?
Yeah.
No.
I know you know who Snoop Dogg is.
Yeah.
Do you know his birth name?
I don't know his birth name.
You do not know. Okay,
no.
It is Calvin Broadus.
Okay.
Does anyone you think knows that?
I'm sure a lot of people listening do.
Now,
he's got like diehard fans.
Yeah. Also, he collabed with Dr. Dre. And if you guys remember, I didn't know who Dr. Dre was.
Yeah,
I was the only person at the Super Bowl. Who did not know who Dr. Dre was.
Like even our 13-year-old's like, how do you not know who Dr. Dre is?
I got a lot of crap for that I didn't know who that was. But you might not know this. Now, Snoop Dogg has gone by a lot of names.
Okay.
And here they are. All right.
Yeah, so
I know everybody. Yeah, I love this stuff. I know. If you want to just fast forward now, you can.
Like 30-second button.
Yeah, just hit the 30-second button. I'll be done in 30 seconds. Okay. All right. Snoop Doggy Dogg. And that's actually the one that I always thought he still was.
Oh, from when you were a kid?
Yeah, I thought he was Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Okay.
But now I guess he's Snoop Dogg. Mm-hmm. Okay, he might be something new, like tomorrow, like yesterday. Yeah,
he matured.
Yeah. Snoop Lion. Do you heard that one? I never. Big Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
Dog Father. Never heard of that one either. Snoop Rock.
Well, you're not like really a fan.
No, I'm not a fan at all.
So like,
I know the Gin and Juice song. Gin and Juice. To do with the Gin and Juice.
Yeah.
Okay. DJ Snoopadelic, Snoopzilla, and Fozzie Snoop.
I'm gonna make you 10 names.
I would like to have 10 names. I want to have 10 names. But anyway, all right. So those are all the names of Snoop Dogg. All right. What color? And okay, so when you think of Snoop Dogg, you think of this guy who's really chill, like probably the coolest man on the planet, right? He's always maybe doing a little extracurriculars,
Of course, he's very open about that.
Very open about that stuff. Maybe a little dad grass, who knows?
He's got his own cannabis company.
Yeah, he's got his own cannabis company.
Right.
So you don't think of him as this crazy CEO type.
But he is. Yeah, I think he's like a record executive too.
He's got everything going on. He's got everything going on.
He's super purple.
Super purple.
Yeah,
okay.
So I can't wait to talk about this in the next part about how purples lead, because he's honestly like the epitome of a purple leader. So, and I'll get more into how purples lead coming up, but how Snoop is to me, I feel like he goes with the flow. He's like very adaptable. And the biggest thing is he knows who he is. He understands that about himself. So when something happens that other people in the business world with quotes around it would have an answer for, he makes his own answer depending on what feels correct to him and what the environment and the context calls for in this moment. So I don't feel like he has a defined sense of, what I do when something goes wrong or what I do when something goes right. I feel like he feels it out in every single moment and makes a choice over and over again, which is a very purple thing to do. You have to make a choice in this moment. Anyways, I feel like that's what he does.
Okay.
So he feels like he's a chill leader who doesn't mind making mistakes, and he doesn't see mistakes as the end of the world. He just moves around them. He's adaptable to new situations. You can throw him anywhere. I feel like he's not super hard on himself in that way. He's just like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And maybe his extracurriculars helps him with that.
No, yeah. And, I just want to add here that I think, Snoop Dogg also, if that's what he's going by now, he also might be a fan of the podcast.
Oh.
Like Selena Gomez, Brad Pitt. I think Tom Brady now, when he took that time off, he's also a fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because he actually lives by a lot of the principles that you teach.
Oh, like spiritual stuff?
A lot of spiritual stuff.
I bet he does manifestation.
Like that kind of stuff.
That makes sense.
Again, I don't think Snoop Dogg is a listener. But all right, here we go. The others are, but he's not. All right. He says, and I got another interview where he talked about his leadership qualities. Okay. So he said, this is his quote. If you stop at general math, you're only going to make general math money. Okay. So what does that mean? So like, let's say you say, he says, well, let's say my number is 1 million or 5 million or, whatever it might be. That's all you're going to do.
Yeah. That's manifestation. You're putting a cap on yourself.
Right.
So that's total manifesting stuff. So what he's saying is, I guess in the world, it's like, here's your business plan. Here's your proposed earnings for next year. Here's how much this company is going to be worth. Here's my assessed value, or like whatever. It's like my Shark Tank knowledge, like all that.
Yeah.
He would be like, no, like I wouldn't ever put a limit on it by saying an amount.
Yeah.
I'm just going to work really hard and be really passionate and give it my all. And then the math will work it out itself, which is total spirituality manifesting.
Exactly. Things. Yeah. So he says,
that's law of attraction, law of vibration. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he says, once you start focusing on a single number or any number, you just put a ceiling on your growth. You just went from superior to, to mediocre.
Okay.
Mediocre.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, it limits yourself. And I can see that. Yeah. I think I do that. I got to watch that.
You do that?
I think I used to when I start, like when we started all this.
Yeah.
Like I would focus more on, okay, we have to do it this way, or we have to do it this way, or I have to get this done, or I have to get this. Now I'm just like, I'm just going to have fun, or I'm just going to if I have a good time, it's successful, like that.
You know what? I think I do that stuff too.
Yeah. We have to be more like Snoop Dogg.
I want to be more like Snoop Dogg.
He's my new guru.
Yeah. Instead of being this Victor Blue right now, I want to be like purple. I want to be Snoop Dogg purple.
Oh, no. You have to be who you are. Oh. You can't go take it on inauthentic colors.
I just for the month of September be purple?
Sure, Scott. We got some things to help you out with that coming up.
We do. All right. Wake me up when September ends. All right. We have a couple ads, and then you're going to talk about leadership qualities in Aura Color.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. It's my birthday season.
It is time to lighten up. Dadgrass is great anytime.
It sure is. Even when you have the birthday blues.
Yeah, Dadgrass can help you chill out before a big birthday party, or it can be a new replacement to that evening glass of wine. Dadgrass is the perfect pairing to everything summer has to offer, and your birthday season too. Dadgrass is legal, organic hemp that relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Dadgrass CBD products are made with 100% organic hemp that's easy to dose, and the effects come on smooth. They offer a variety of products from their token smokable pre-rolled joints, as well as hemp flower and a variety of CBD tincture drops. Enjoy the effects of CBD while keeping a clear head. All Dadgrass products are federally legal for ages 18 and over, and it ships right to your door anywhere in the U.S. Go to dadgrass.com/KYA to check out their products. Whether you're looking for a new buzz or a chill way to enjoy an old favorite, Dadgrass will leave you in a euphoric mood. Right now, Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/KYA. Go to dadgrass.com/KYA for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/KYA. Now, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. There's been times in my life where I end up getting stuck focusing on problems instead of solutions. How might that situation go better with a different mindset? Well, it can be tough to train your brain to stay in a problem-solving mode when faced with a challenge in life. My experience with BetterHelp has helped me just process when something like this is going on. Just having somebody professional give me objective advice and caring advice has helped me a lot. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is just a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable. It's entirely online. You get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey, and you can switch therapists anytime you need to or like to. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can help get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/KYA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KYA. Let's talk about aura colors and leadership. So because our society is set up in a very 3D, a third dimensional type way, we have these black and white, ideals of what a leader should be and what their roles are and how they carry out these roles. And it tends to align with red auras a lot of the times. And we'll get into each aura color, but I just wanted to bring that part up first because what happens is we all get put into leadership roles. Every single one of us, every single aura color, we all get put into a leadership role, but we can't all do it the same way. And our society tells you that the best way to do it is, how I interpret it, is the red aura way, or a way that's very assertive and powerful and confident and strong and, authoritative and commanding of respect and all that. And it's just not how it works. So I wanted to talk about leadership in aura color, and I'd focus a little bit on the empath aura colors and how they can be leaders too, what works for them, what doesn't work for them, what some of the pitfalls are. But first, when we think of a leader, we often attribute the following characteristics to one. And here are 10 of them that I took from LinkedIn. I took these from LinkedIn. Okay, so we think of a leader as having accountability, adaptability, confidence, creativity, empathy, focus, positivity, risk-taking, stability, and team building. So before even getting into these, it just so happens that if you're a red or green aura, and sometimes even a yellow aura, some of these things can be easier than if you lead with your blue or purple or indigo or turquoise aura. And the only reason why, and this is the crux of it, the only reason why is because you feel other people's feelings as your own. And not only that, depending on your programming, you may care about what other people feel because you can feel it. And even further, you may have a knee-jerk reaction where what other people feel is correct, more prioritized, and more important than how you feel. And you haven't quite learned how to make a distinction between your feelings and their feelings, which is very confusing when you're trying to lead others. So when you have an empath aura, you can do all those 10 characteristics I just listed. And you can still carry out all the responsibilities of being a leader, but it's going to look different. And the reason is you are just highly sensitive to other people's energies. So reds, yellows, and greens, those who lead with that color in leadership, they can have awareness of the emotions, opinions, and feelings, judgments, etc. of all the people they are leading, but they also can separate it from their own choice making and their own opinion of their self and their own self-worth and their own job performance. They can separate it. They have a good leader who's red, yellow, or green has an awareness, empathy for other people's thoughts and feelings and emotions and whatnot, but they don't merge it into their own. Okay? The people that they are leading will have all these feelings, but the leader themselves, who leads with their red, yellow, or green aura, I don't know, it doesn't really pass into their membrane of their own environment. They can keep it separate. Blues, indigos, turquoises, and purples, they just cannot. Therefore, when I see people who lead with the empath colors in leadership, that's blue, purple, indigo, turquoise, they can be stressed, overwhelmed, they can get borderline burned out, they can get sick, they can be wearing inauthentic colors to cope, and they can be acting out in ways which are not indicative of their best selves. And that's when you try to do leadership in a way that's not authentic to you. Mostly when I see empath auras in leadership and they're not honoring their own way of doing things, they can feel like they're failing all the time. They can have major imposter syndrome, and they can feel as though there's something really wrong with them and that everyone's going to find out. So they have to hide it. It's like wearing a full-on mask all day, when in fact, there's nothing wrong with them. They just have to adjust themselves to what they cannot change about themselves, which is an ability to feel what others think. What I have noticed with empath auras is that they can feel it, and because they can feel it, they automatically think that what they feel is correct. So when you're leading others and you got to make a call, and like a couple people listening to you say these things are, grumbling, and you feel their vibes coming at you, you may be more pulled to that than the better choice. So you may be pulled to the people pleasing rather than the leading in the way it has to go. But here's the thing, just because you can feel somebody else's opinion doesn't mean that's the correct opinion. And I know that sounds simple, but honestly, if you were programmed a certain way, especially if you were programmed to feel a parent or caregiver was always the correct one and you were not, you'll just carry that out. You'll just default to the outside energies you feel all the time, hence creating major stress around leadership. Then you think you're not a good leader. That's not true. If you think about it, we lead all the time. All of us lead. Like maybe you lead your family, or you lead a social group, or maybe you have a book club and you're leading it. Maybe you've taken on a group project and you led that. We've all had successful leadership experiences. And if you can think about a successful leadership experience you've had, think about what went right. Think about how you felt. Think about how you dealt with challenges. Because no matter how small it was, even if it was organizing a trip to the beach for your friends, one day, you did that. How did you do it? How did you feel? How did you honor everyone's opinion, even though you couldn't make everyone always happy? How did you use compromise? How did you do it? Because you can take that, and that's who you really are. So I'll tell empath auras for leadership. Think about a time when you did do a leadership activity and it went great, and you had a good time with it, and it was a lot of fun, and it all worked out. And that's no different than how you're going to lead in maybe a more serious, with quotes around it, situation, perhaps in a workplace or some other project. Covering up the way that you authentically lead others, just your aura colors and how this is anywhere, okay? But covering it up can cause some very poor leadership qualities. As you deny your own sense of self and your abilities and the reality in which you are living, the fact that you can feel others' feelings as your own, I mean, perhaps over time you've connoted that with being weak. Therefore, I will see sometimes empath auras go into leadership positions with a chip on their shoulder. They'll be a bit of a stubborn person. They might play favorites with those they're supposed to lead. And that can leave them open to manipulation from the people who can see exactly what's going on here and take advantage of it. They can outsource their approval to narcissistic personalities around them and then be used as a pawn. That's just one thing that can happen. Another thing is that they can just actually get kind of mean. They may double down on what they say, have a hard time changing their mind because their ego attached to their choices because they feel like leaders are always right. And they can be super defensive, making them a leader that people don't respect, but do fear and try to avoid. And it can get toxic. So a good leader is somebody that you can say like, hey, I don't agree with that. And they'll listen to you. And it's not like scary to talk to them about that. I remember when I was teaching, one of the things they told us, and it's terrible advice, I hope they're still not giving it, is don't let the students know that you're ever wrong. You're never wrong. Don't let them know that. Well, guess what? I'm purple and indigo. I'm always wrong. Like, I make mistakes all the time. I mean, that's just part of my process. I stumble through things. But honestly, I'm moving forward. I just stumble. So when I was teaching, I remember I would tell the kids, like, hey, I'm giving you your test back. Please do the math because I am not always right. And sure enough, there'd always be a couple of them be like, hey, your math's off. Like, okay. Did I get disrespected? Absolutely not. I made it a non-issue because I was just like, whatever. Okay, we make mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and pretend we don't. That would be inauthentic. That would be like a defense mechanism. That's like an ego hijacked vibe. I'm not doing that. So some people don't make a lot of mistakes, okay? Like some people, maybe that works for a different kind of vibe, but telling me that wouldn't work for me. So owning it helped me be a better leader. Okay. So can reds and yellows and greens get like this too? Of course. Anybody can be a crappy leader. We've met a lot of those. If you've had a job, that. But this is kind of the generalization and not the exception, to what I can see happening with empath auras, which honestly is what I usually talk to when I do readings. So sometimes I'll see with empath auras, I mean, just generally speaking, they can just get very pleaser vibes, pleaser to everyone they're supposed to be leading. Instead, they're kind of being submissive to them. And then they can get very sick and they can burn out. And it's really harmful to them and their well-being. So traits of unfavorable leaders, according to LinkedIn, are unwillingness to change, indecisive, lack of accountability, apathetic, lack of integrity, and poor communication. I just had to put those in there. All right, so bottom line, any aura color can be a leader. But understanding what you need to work out and what you need to work on and being self-aware and owning it and speaking to it when you have to the people you're supposed to be leading. And just like absorbing your own style, that can help you do it in your own way and make it just a lot less stressful when you have to go somewhere and be a leader. So let's go through leadership and how it looks in each aura color. And just a disclaimer, as I go through each aura color, this is assuming someone is balanced and has good intentions and is like a normal, nice person. Because like I said, and I feel like I have to say this every few episodes. Aura colors aren't bad or good. Our intentions are what rule us, not our aura colors. Okay, so aura colors are more our filter for how we see, interpret the world. And it's like personalities, right? That's aura colors. It does, but your intentions are what makes you good to be around or not. So I just want to put that out there. Okay, reds. We'll start with the reds, our stereotypical good leadership that our society is like, yeah, that's a leader. And what everybody ends up trying to always be, which doesn't work for everybody. So reds are stereotypically in our 3D society. I mean, society is set up for them to lead. So they're good at it because the structure's already there in place and they just fit right in there and they're fine. They do have very strong ideals, and they tend to stick to them with logic. They like to structure their ideals with teams, and a good red aura builds the team builds the people up on the team. So as the team moves forward to their goal, a good red aura sees the individual people and sees how they themselves have advantages too. So for example, in like a small business, they would be moved up the chain and rewarded, and their progress would be incentivized. There is a lot of respect. Mutual respect is very important for red auras, for everybody. There's no yelling, more of an existing vibe of authority, but also one where you can go question something and have a conversation about it, very open-minded. Reds can change their minds. You know, a good red can change their minds, can hear people out, can revisit topics. Reds like to work with people. They really do. But they like to be in charge. And if they're seeing that there's other red auras on their team and, you know, kind of headbutting or whatever, a good red aura will give those people their own teams to lead. So they make room and space for people's personalities. Blues. So blues, as we spoke about, feel others' feelings as their own. The thing with blues is they'll jump over analyzing that. And they'll go to just, okay, I'm feeling other people's feelings, so that must be, they don't even have this like conversation in their head. Just what they're feeling is correct, or what they're feeling is what they should do, without questioning it or analyzing it, or being like, hey, wait a second, is this my own interpretation, or do I have to do that? So that's a pitfall. So pleasing everyone can be a priority for an unbalanced blue leader. They can get stuck in this and feel torn, sick, sometimes pulled in directions they don't want to go in by the stronger personalities. They can get burned out. They can feel very unsuccessful. But a strong, self-aware blue leader understands this about themselves. That's how I am. I like everyone to be happy. I don't like when people are upset. So they know they can't do things the way a stereotypical leader does them. And while they know they cannot please everyone then, they go about their leadership responsibilities anyhow. I tell blue auras in leadership, think about like being in charge of your dog or your kid if you have one, or a niece or a nephew. Sometimes others in our lives need to be told what to do. And while you know they don't like it, you do know that you're doing it out of love. And then whoever your dog or your kid or whatever, like they know you're doing it out of love too. It's just like, oh man, why you got to be like this? Like, I know, but this is what's best for you. This is it's just a choice I'm making. And I know it's hard, but we're in it together, like that. So owning it and understanding it, but also having that feeling almost like of a parental caretaking kind of responsibility that helps them be a better leader. It's just authentic. If you can think about it that way, it's a perception that can be authentic for a blue person to work within. So you're doing it out of love, and you're aware of their feelings, but you're not going to compromise what you need to know needs to be done for them. So in leadership with a blue, there's room for empathy and firmness, just like in a parental relationship. And here's the thing. Blues, as a blue, you're going to get involved in other people's lives and headspaces naturally. So it's understanding that, yes, I need boundaries and I need professional curtains being put up, but you can also still create strong relationships with people. And that's why I see a lot of blues in leadership. They become like family with the people they're leading. Indigos, a lot like blues, except they can have a little bit more analyzing up front, that they're feeling other people's stress and internalizing it. Then they just get anxious and it's like a ball of just energy, and then they just like indigos out of that leadership position sometimes. So indigos in leadership can feel everything, and they know they're picking up everyone's vibe. They're like, oh God, this is so stressful. I can't. But indigos in leadership definitely get moved up quickly. And I see indigos in leadership kind of bypassing the larger teams of people they're supposed to be leading, and they'll go to smaller contexts. They have an ability to work well with very difficult personalities. So I'll see poor greens. I didn't mean to say it that way, but I just did, I guess. Poor greens. Okay, so this is how I'll see indigos in leadership a lot. I will see indigos being a leader over a lot of greens. Now, green people, and if you know one, you get what I'm saying. greens like to do things in their own way. So leading green people, it's like leading, I don't know, squirrels or something. They're very independent. They're going to do their own thing, and you can't really herd them together. So an indigo is amazing at leading anybody who tend to sometimes be green people who are a little bit more difficult about their own processes, because indigos are like, okay, that's your process. I'll just merge into that. Got it. Okay, that's your process. So they can lead like 10, 12, 20 people or whatever, be in their own individual spaces and move them together that way. I hope that makes sense. They can compartmentalize each relationship with each team member and then create out of that a common goal or statement or information or put it together or direction. So they're actually really good like that. It's like they're good with working with people in pockets. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, they just have this ability to kind of mind read, indigos do, and understand how things flow best in a team. So indigos in leadership with when they're balanced, understand individuals' motives really well. And they'll know how to move around them, and they'll know how to help them, and they'll know how to talk to them. Or it's a lot of energy, though. It is a lot of energy. So they can get burned out. They just have to trust that this is how they do their best work. That's why they don't mind working with the greens, because the greens don't want to be bothered either. Okay, to the greens. Greens in leadership. Here's the things with green leaders. They're visionaries. They are visionaries. Green leaders are visionaries. They see which way that ship is going miles ahead before they get there. But sometimes the current moment, the present moment, can be a little all over the place with their leadership. So they're more concerned with direction and vision than the present moment happenings. So green leaders who get stuck in minutia. So I'll see this a lot of times when greens are wearing inauthentic red. I'm like, oh, they're stuck in the minutia. They're doing the accounting. Okay. They're dealing with the training. They're dealing with talking to, I don't know, they're like minutia, like the same thing over and over again. Now, red people love doing that kind of stuff. Green people don't. So when greens get stuck in minutia, their leadership gets weaker because they have the ability to be a visionary. They need to find people to deal with the minutia for them so that they can keep the focus of the direction of things as a leader. Greens love progress and new things. They like to give people space to do what works for them. They just can't be doing the day-to-day tasks or deal with any sort of mundane, what they would consider mundane nonsense. They have to take their energy away from the thing that they're good at to do that, which is an innovative movement that's forward for where they're leading. So greens in leadership is what I'm trying to say. They need to get people underneath them that can organize them. That's why I always see yellows working great with greens. Because the yellows will be like, okay, that's your vision. Okay, here's like the 4,000 steps. I'll take care of that. And they're like, great, thanks. They just focus on the vision and they let the yellow person do their thing. And that's why greens and yellows really do work well together. And greens and indigos too. All right. Purples. Purples don't usually want to lead in a traditional way. Okay. Because purples really don't care. Like, I don't care if you follow me. I don't need your mutual respect. I don't need to be the big man on campus here. Okay. Like they don't need any of that. But what is entertaining to me about purple people is I will see them leading things which entertain them. So let's talk about purples. In leadership, purples can see everyone's point of view at the same time. They can see all the future happenings and trajectories of what will happen or what might happen or could happen based on what may or may not have been done or said or whatever. It's like an innumerable amount of variables they see and outcomes they anticipate all the time. That's why purples can make a lot of mistakes or they can stumble around because their heads in like 1,000 different places at once. So purples in leadership must realize one thing. You make your best choices in the moment. I tell purple leaders this all the time when I'm doing readings. Planning ahead as a leader for a purple can cause a lot of anxiety because you can interpret so many things at once. Rather, it's better to put all that energy into just having confidence in yourself for problem solving in the here and now. That will just make it easier. I feel like the saying, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, was invented by a purple or a person because that's actually what you're good at. Now that goes against all our societal thoughts of what makes a good leader. But for purples, that's what makes a good leader. You cross that bridge when you come to it, and you have to have faith that you make the best choice in chaos. They really do. So, yeah, purples wing it, but they wing it brilliantly. And therefore, I will see purples effectively leading chaotic environments. Classrooms, restaurants. I mean, the best restaurants are run by like some purple people. And honestly, purples are great at leading really dysfunctional workspaces. Sometimes workspaces are so dysfunctional and yet they're never going to change. That's just how they are. There's like the hope is lost for it ever changing from being a dysfunctional workplace. The purples got it. Purples got it. They just know how to run things that are kind of already a mess and function as a mess. And, you know, we need that. So good job, purples. Okay, yellows. Yellows are amazing self-managers. I do notice they prefer working on their own. So leadership for the yellow is about the system that they create. More time on the system, setting up that system in place makes less time dealing with individuals. So yellows need to focus on creating systems which are structured to lead for them. This is like, I'll see them making schedules, spreadsheet memos, slides, how-tos, videos, flowcharts, etc., with the thought that the team they are leading can refer back to those. You don't have to ask me. You don't have to ask anybody. You can refer to the flowchart. That'll help you. Okay? So not everyone, though, will refer back to those. There's a couple like blue people or purple people that are like, what? Like, what? What am I looking at? So yellows do have to understand that their system deserves respect and time from themselves, and also needs to be prioritized to their team that they're leading. Like, hey, hi, I'm your yellow or a leader, and this is my best friend, the system I created, and let's all learn how to use it together. And you might just have to hold some people's hands as they initially understand the brilliance of your system. Like, not everybody's going to get it right away, yellows. Okay, some people are just like looking at it's just like numbers flying off the computer. They're like, what? They don't know that it's brilliant yet. So you just have to hold their hand and be like, it's going to be okay, and lead them through it, and then they'll get it. So it's that initial little handhold you need to do, and then they're fine. Systems away. Finally, turquoises. So in all leadership situations, any one of us can get judged as a person based on the team we've put together. Because truly, when you're in leadership, everything's your fault, right? Anything goes wrong, anything fails, it's your fault. Even if it's somebody else's fault, it's your fault. And that's what a good leader understands. However, I have noticed that for turquoises in leadership, that whole it's your fault thing can go down doubly as hard. People are really hard on the turquoise leader. I feel like turquoises just have a bit of a target on their back because of this. Turquoises may really blend into their team. So it's hard for them sometimes to see the faults or strengths the way other aura colors could. So we talk about turquoises a lot around here having more of an absorption quality and less boundaries than any of the other aura colors. So it can be hard for turquoises to separate themselves from the people they're supposed to be leading in order to make, good decisions. And so that can happen. Therefore, depending on the turquoises' balance, a team that they're leading can topple quicker unless they know this. So a balanced turquoise really uses their ability to feel vibes. They have to trust their gut. They have to understand the direction they want to go in with a very strong foundation within themselves. So if you are a turquoise in leadership, you have to have your goals plainly written out, like on a Post-it note in front of you all the time. And you have to check back all the time. Any choice you're making, look back at your goals and be like, does this align with my goals? And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, wait a second. Let me pause on that. Let me get back to you. Because you just need to measure it against your goals more often until you get more comfortable and confident with differentiating yourself from other people's thoughts, opinions, wants, and needs and whatnot. So the littlest choices have to be measured against the original plan, motive, and goal. even the tiniest of things. Just hang on a second and then look at it and really think about it and see if it aligns. So I hope this helped you have more faith in yourself as a leader. Like I said, we're all leaders. We all have leadership abilities. And again, homework, think of a time that you led people and it worked out. Think about it. It could be the smallest thing. Maybe we have to start with a recent lunch date or something that you got everybody together for. Whatever. Think about how it felt when you were successful and think about all the things that you did right and all the things that felt good and all the things that were authentic to you. And right there, that's how you're a leader. And we can take that into any other situation now. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, so after listening to your talk,
yeah,
I really want to get my red back.
Right.
And I really feel the culprit here is the birthday month. It happens every September.
Every year.
There's probably many other issues going on.
Every year.
It's always September's the worst. And, is there a way that you think I can get through this month?
Like, I don't know. It's coming.
I always know it's coming.
You know September is coming. You're going to turn another year older.
All right.
Like, you get mad at it.
I do.
It's weird.
Let's do this thing. And I think we've told people this before. We do this thing called brainstorming. I think we've already mentioned this on the podcast.
This is our couples technique.
It's a couples technique. So you can't get mad at someone if they say something ridiculous.
Yes.
If at first they say brainstorming.
This is how we talk to each other. We say brainstorming.
Right.
And so, yeah.
And it basically evolved because, sometimes I'd come up with a silly idea, or Mr. Michaela come up with a silly idea, and then be like, "What are you talking about?"
Like,
you can't. If you
read into it too much,
right? You read into it, you get annoyed with them.
We'd be like, "Wow, I can't believe you said that." Like, that's what you think of me.
Yeah.
So we decided if you say brainstorm, you can say anything,
right? Because I say a lot of red ideas. She says a lot of indigo ideas,
right?
But if you say brainstorming first, it's like off the hook. And you just be like, oh, brainstorming.
But sometimes if you're me, you have to remind the other person that brainstorming can't be read into, and you can't comment, what a stupid idea.
Yes, that is true. I sometimes forget brainstorming.
Right.
But yes, all right.
The rules of brainstorming.
All right, so let's go brainstorming here.
Brainstorming, get Scott out of his birthday blues.
Yeah, how do we do that? All right, you start. Okay, what do you think?
Mothman.
Okay, yes, I agree. If you guys want to send some the listeners want to...
you're not asking for crap from people. I meant we plan
medium shirt.
Okay, I meant we plan a trip to Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Okay, I thought about that.
Did you for your birthday?
I know, and
fall foliage.
Okay, well, let's go back to Mothman for a second.
Okay.
Yes, I did think of that. I tried to, but it doesn't the timing's not going to work out. All right, fall foliage. Well, all right, that's a brainstorming, right?
Well,
okay.
I just meant that would be in fall foliage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I would say down here we don't have any.
You don't have to go to the festival. I think the museum's open all the time.
The museum is all the time. I call them every day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're like your friends now.
Yeah, I'm
I
friends
feel like
with
you could volunteer at the Mothman Museum.
I'd like to do that, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So that's my brainstorm. What's your brainstorm for yourself?
Like specialty coffees?
You love a specialty coffee.
I love a specialty coffee.
All right, so try a new coffee place.
Yeah, okay, try a new coffee place. That'd be good.
I'll make pumpkin pie or something that always seems to make you kind of happy.
I love pumpkin pie.
So sad.
This is really sad.
This is making me depressed. The things that make you happy.
People, overtime, brainstorming and overtime. We've never done a brainstorming and overtime together.
More Netflix Seinfeld. That seems to make you happy.
Yeah, I've been watching reruns of Seinfeld lately.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I don't know. I feel more and more like George every day.
George Costanza. All right. Well, what do you got?
All right. So we got coffee, Seinfeld, Mothman goods, pumpkin pie.
Yeah. I think just peace and quiet. People just don't bother you, like the children and me.
No,
we don't ask you for things,
Yeah.
Like another cat.
Yeah.
We did
no more
get
cats.
you.
Actually, not getting another cat would make me happy. Yeah.
Oh.
No more cats.
Okay.
No more cats. All right. Well, let's work on this.
You're not good at brainstorming for yourself.
I know. I can't even think.
New sneakers.
I just got new sneakers.
Did you when?
2-3 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Remember, I picked them out by myself. You hate them.
No, they're not good.
I like them.
They
you don't
are
like my sneakers?
Not good.
Really? They're Puma.
It's the last time you go sneaker shopping alone.
I know.
They just say Puma, so they're dad sneakers.
They're dad sneakers.
Yeah.
Okay. I wish they made Know Your Aura sneakers.
Oh.
I'd get those.
Yeah.
Because, like me, I don't like to wear any labels other than Know Your Aura on it. Like, I'd rather...
that's weird because you got sneakers that say Puma, like a freaking billboard on each of your heels.
No, I know, and that bothers me. But
you didn't even notice till I told you. You're like a walking advertisement. So we could get you new sneakers. You love new sneakers.
Yeah,
they make you happy.
Every sneaker has a brand on it.
Not as conspicuous as the one you purchased.
That's true. That's true.
We can get you new kicks.
I think I got new sneakers last year for my birthday.
That's what I get you every year. I do the same thing every year. I get you coffee. I get you sneakers. I get you weird T-shirts.
Tennessee whiskey.
Oh, you love Tennessee whiskey.
I do love Tennessee whiskey. Maybe that.
All right. Some coffee mugs.
All those chips I love from Virginia. The Route 11 chips.
Okay.
That would make me happy.
Okay.
All right. I don't think anyone cares.
Done. All right.
But we did call.
This is overtime.
We called overtime.
You're on your own.
You're on your own here. It's your fault you're listening, not ours.
It's true.
All right.
All right. This podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.